it's nice to be back in the shed. We've made a piano, and I wanted to talk through the reason we've made it. I want to interrogate why pianos that are sampled sound a bit shit. And I should know, I've made enough of them. And whilst I have got close many times, there's always too many compromises. And the one universal compromise I think that's always made is they just don't feel like pianos to play, which is ironic because I can convince a bassoon player that a bassoon part that's been played in on a piano, not like this, is in fact a real bassoon, whereas I don't buy keyboard instruments, pianos, electric pianos, that have been played in with keyboards. So what I thought I'd do today is have a chat about why I think sample pianos. I often do these contextual things, but I'm actually going to make a track where the piano is really, really exposed. And that's something I would just never, ever do. Leave an exposed, sampled piano on a track. Now, I'm lucky I have access to pianos, whether it be at studios or indeed at home, but what about doing it in the box? So first I'm going to see if they play to a metronome. Feels about 100-ish. Bit low on that, aren't we? Why do sample pianos sound so? I think it's in the name. Piano is short for pianoforte, soft, loud, a keyboard instrument, and this was a novel, revolutionary technology, a keyboard instrument that can play softly and loudly. And I think that piano players, you know, just playing basically a dulcimer with a keyboard attached, have really lent into expression through dynamics. For example, in the 1980s, this is what we thought a piano sounded like. Which isn't a piano, it's just a forte. And I stumbled across an alternative solution, which was to do literally the opposite. Take, instead of a piano that's just a 1, 2, 7, da, 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 something that only plays softly. And the soft piano has been enjoyed by literally millions of people around the world. But the problem is, that's just a piano in the sense of there's no forte. The other problem with sampled libraries, I think, is they tend to be made as workhorses, fit for all purposes, for all people. That's just not the way that music is recorded and produced. I mean, if you want to create a piece of music that's soft and intimate, I will pick the correct piano for that. Microphones, mic pre's, and the way in which I position those microphones. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to lay down a bass part. I'm just going to do it with a sine wave, just so I want to find a set of voices that are more pianistic. And again, slightly more mainstream. I'm not thinking about market, I'm just thinking about accessibility and use. So what I'm going to do is just grab the old multi-sampler. I am switching to Cubase, but I'm just not confident enough on it to do a tutorial. This is instruments are the ingredients of the recipe that is our music, and I think when incorporating a workhorse piano into your recipe, it's like reaching into a herb rack and grabbing mixed herbs for your spaghetti bolognese, and whilst there may be some oregano in there, there's also marjoram. When thinking about making our first piano, our first true commercial piano for Crow Hill, I spoke to Cam about whether we could see if we could just take it on a step. And for me, it was finding a piano with character that had something that had an intimate honesty to it. And what better a piano than something that toured the Philippines in World War II? Talk about backstory. We picked mics that suited the piano and mic pre's. But for me, the instruction to Cam, and I played a couple of rounds of the during the sampling sessions, the key for me was that every note should sound different. We should be able to play pianoforte without hearing ourselves going through the different dynamic layers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a song with my longest collaborative compositional partner, Caroline, but also the genius that is Theo. So it's going to be just piano, guitar, and voice. And I'm doing a song that I first heard maybe 1990, is that right? Or 1994, something like that, a long time ago. It's a song that I think should have always been a hit. It's by a woman called Stina Nordenstam, who I believe was incredibly shy, didn't promote stuff. She, for me, is proto-Billie Eilish in the sense that she was the quietest singer I'd ever heard by that point. But for many, and I've tried to get this synchronized on so many TV programs, for many, her voice is just a little bit Marmite.
So this is goodbye. So this is how you say it.
Right, Marmite. Woman just went, I love it. Most of you who subscribe to this channel don't actually have the blessing of being brought up in the UK. So I'm going to do a brief history story, which is more a story than it is history because I made it up. But my theory is a businessman who was being toured around a beer factory, that is a thing, brewery, and he asked, what's that tap at the bottom? What's in that? And the brewer said, oh, that's the brown sludgy tap. And the businessman asked, what's the brown sludgy? He goes, well, it's like this horrible stuff that is at the bottom of the thing that makes the beer. And that's the tap that lets the horrible stuff out. And so the businessman goes, can I taste the brown sludgy? And he puts his finger under the tap and he goes, I think this will make an ideal spread for people's toast at breakfast time. All we have to do is add fuck tons of salt to it and maybe not call it brown beer sludge. It's like Vegemite, but way better. But the problem is exactly 50% of the UK fucking hate it. So much so, the people who make Marmite capitalise on this and use it in their promotional campaigns, TV ads, that kind of stuff. If you're in a room and there's someone in that room who 50% of the room adore and 50% of the room can't abide Boris Johnson, we tend to refer to them as Marmite. And curiously, during lockdown, when people weren't going to pubs and were drinking less beer, we ran out of Marmite. So what I'm going to do with Caroline, who's an American singer, is create much more of a, I don't want to describe Caroline as this, but a slightly more mainstream approach, but again, something that's very, very intimate, because I think this song is a cracker. What I'm really nervous about, though, is having an exposed, sampled piano as the main instrument. And I want to prove to myself that we can still move, provided we're allowed to play soft and loud, dynamic, and create something I hope will be special. So all the more reason to subscribe to this channel. I'm going to basically come to a conclusion about whether we've nailed this piano once I've recorded Caroline, Theo, and I've done a mix, and I'll take you through that process to give you a true sense of context and whether we're getting closer to making a piano feel like a piano not just sound like one, because it's the way things feel that makes you add feeling into music. Right, so let's lay down this piano track with schnorbitzes and mistakes and clams and all of that kind of stuff included. Apologies in advance.
So this is goodbye. So this is how you say it. These are the words. It's the words you're using. It's the picture you see. So this is goodbye. So this is how we say it. This is the time it takes you. Didn't take you late, no, did it? Didn't hurt you late, no, did it? So this is goodbye. So this is how you spell it. When you place it in your mouth. What happens if I didn't hear you? What happens if it wasn't clear? I was around. Maybe it was you I came to see. Maybe it was you who invited me. I remember your eyes around 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 me.
Oh, we're going to have fun with this.